Well, good morning.
Hello.
Welcome to Real WW Talk. I'm Erin.
I'm Candice.
And I'm Rikki.
And I said good morning. So let me just peel back the layers and just say typically we record in the evening. Ooh. But, you know, all of us have jobs, all of us have things, and we are not letting our community down. So we're pulling an old-fashioned WW meeting time for us, 6:30 in the morning.
Y'all, we used to actually be in meeting chairs by this time. Isn't that crazy?
Crazy.
It opened early to weigh in.
Yeah.
And the meeting started at 7.
I don't know how we did it. For years.
Goodness.
I know. But when we say years, we're talking like a decade.
Yes. many.
What the big problem was. That's what
I would say that's because we were younger, but we were one of the youngest people in there. So
we were so young.
When we were young. Okay. So ladies, last week, it seems so far away, doesn't it?
Yeah. I think it's because we're cold. I think it was far away because we're also like, hey, it's so cold here in Maryland. You don't understand.
You know, honestly, it could be. Did you guys go out and do any walking this past week? And just for people who are like,
outside?
Florida says cold and it's like 60 degrees. And we're like, oh, bless you. No, we're talking 25 degrees, which others are like, oh, bless you. It was negative, whatever, so.
Yeah. And you heard Rikki's response. Rikki said outside.
Yeah. The second I walk out, even just from a like skin perspective, my skin like gets bumpy and hurt. Like I have to put on 10 layers of lotion. My body rejects the cold.
Yeah. I did walk outside. I had all of my warm weather gear stuff on, so I did do the walk. And I will say the first 5 minutes, I want to apologize to anybody in the great county of Baltimore who saw me outside walking because they saw a very unpleasant look on my face. And it was the equivalent of, why does the air hurt my face where I live? Why am I choosing to live where the air hurts my face? And what am I doing with my life at this moment? Why am I doing this with my life? Literally, that was the first 5 minutes. And then I warmed up.
The questions we ask in the moments where we're like, we're pondering the meaning of life.
Mm-hmm.
I felt the same way, only I was chasing my 4-year-old who decided that he didn't care that there was ice. He wanted to ride his scooter. Mm-hmm. And so I got in all my steps in wind chill, negative 100 wind chill.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's to me, it's not necessarily the temperature. It's what it feels like.
Yes.
There's two different things. It's two
when that
things.
wind is coming and the wind's hitting you in the face too, and your eyeballs, it just does something to your eyeballs in a whole different way.
Yeah.
I was like, I need Erin's snow nose or whatever to just tell it to stop it.
No. Right.
Okay.
I did walk out of work. I had to roll into work Thursday morning? Yeah, Thursday morning. And I was like, I think it's gonna snow. I was like, snow. And I was like, and I haven't paid attention to the forecast. So I work at a radio station and I roll into the morning show. And I was like, because they're doing, a forecast as a part of the normal thing. And I was like, guys, are we supposed to have snow today? And they're like, no, it's something like later in the day. I was like, no, I think it's going to snow within like at least the next hour or two. And they're like, it's not even in the forecast. I'm like, okay, I'm just saying, I think so. I smell it. And then literally an hour later, we had a coating flurries, and we're standing outside. And then it was enough to kind of coat our cars just a smidge.
I remember that.
The nose cast.
I'm just thinking about what her coworkers are thinking. Like she's going, what is that? Oh, it's no.
That's forecaster now.
That's after I found what I thought was a car part in the driveway of the station. And I'm like, my gosh, I'm about to go save somebody's life. They have dropped a major part of their car. And so I've picked this thing up and I'm carrying it into the studio. And I'm like, you guys, do you know what this is from a car? Like, this is in the driveway. And my one coworker, and he's not a handyman, so he was very proud of himself. He goes, Erin, I believe that is the pump to the back of a toilet, not a part of the car. I dropped that thing so fast. say Thursday was a cavalcade of crazy. I was like, well, that is the definition of how my day is today, right?
Oh my goodness. My God.
All right. So I thought for us, especially since we're kind of doing morning stuff, but we haven't done this in a while. What do you guys feel like talking about breakfast?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Other than just the occasional, what are you eating for breakfast? We haven't talked about like breakfast strategy and like long term, what do you eat? What do you eat when you go out? What do you drink in the morning? And we all have our Nespresso machines. Rikki, I know you've cut back significantly on your Starbucks, but you do your occasional Starbucks treat. Candice, you enjoy your little treat. So, and you've got Candice is holding up her real WW Talk mug.
I'm so proud. Rikki got us these eons ago,
like 5 years ago, probably close to when we started. Yeah,
that's right.
I just love it.
You can't buy the mug. You can't buy the
don't
mug.
ask us. This is a Rikki
That's
original.
Right. That's right. You have to be in Rikki's graces for that one.
Yeah.
Right. So, all right, breakfast. Now, Candice, I know that you've been loving your avocado toast.
I do.
We've covered that. What else are
don't
you
bring that up again.
Don't bring that up.
She's like, okay, do not start with that toast. Right?
What? Okay, hold on. Let me bring back my brain. When you guys look at breakfast, what is your approach in terms of points? Let's start there. Points or calories, etc.
I can tell you, I try to keep it as low as I can, because breakfast, ironically, is the easiest for me to keep it low at, especially with the new changes to the program. Yeah. So I like eggs are 0. And if you have different plans, it may not be like potatoes are 0, onions, peppers. I have found a way to have a 0-point breakfast minus my coffee. That's 2 points because I'm obsessed with one thing. I want to tell you about my morning that I love is this peppermint mocha, and it's seasonal. This is why I'm so upset. It is Califia Farms.
Califia.
Yes, thank you. Say it that way.
I only know it because I was so bothered that I kept saying I couldn't figure it out, and I Googled it, and it was California Farms, Califia, and I was like, "Oh, this makes sense. Got it now."
Califia Farms makes a peppermint mocha during the holiday.
Oh, I've seen it.
Almond milk creamer that you can get 4 or 5 tablespoons for 2 points, depending on what you need. And it has blessed my whole life. I actually bought the last bottle in Maryland because I went to every store like the last week and had to get it. It's, how you're trying. I'm really looking at like the artificial sugars. We've talked about that. And this one does not have that, but it is reduced sugar. And I just had to share, like, that is my first win. I'm going to answer your question too about the actual breakfast, but I had to mention my peppermint mocha because it doesn't matter what I put it in. It makes it a little slice of heaven. And it's just great.
I told you, just a touch of peppermint makes everything better.
A little bit of me. And I think of you every time and I go, thank you, God.
This is 4 years of emotional manipulation around mint. And now you think it's yours.
And then the 3 of us went during the holiday, during our real WW Talk, like get together for the holiday. We went to the Nespresso store and I got the peppermint
pinwheel. Not
with the peppermint mocha.
So
I'm
good.
just telling you, like, it's life changing. And I feel bad because you can't find it right now because it's seasonal.
Yes.
I shouldn't have said
you brought that up though, because that falls into drink category. Because there are some people who are like, I will not spend anything on drinks, including coffee syrups, including creamers. And so for you, that's an important
I was starting to not like because, and I think Rikki has brought this up before. Sometimes you can have, not all the time, because I don't find it as much with the syrups for me. It's more like the creamers that have a lot of the artificial in it.
I have a hard time
But
with
but this one it's just wonderful. So I just had to mention that first. And now I forgot your original question because I was so excited to share that.
Breakfast. What are we doing? First, our approach to breakfast. How many points or calories, etc., are we spending at breakfast.
My answer is 0 to 5.
0 to 5. Okay, Rikki, how about you? What's your approach for breakfast?
So I'm trying to fix one of my recipes that's saved because I don't think it's accurate. It says it's 15 points for my morning coffee, which it is not.
I was gonna say, God bless you, girl.
Because my eyes, I want to correct, because if you saw on the stream, because both of us kind of went,
yeah.
But again, the part of doing the plan is
we look and we don't judge.
Right. How you work it out, because Rikki, this is important. That could be important to Rikki. Rikki may have more points than either of us do, and she might be making her lunch and her dinner 0 point and still making that healthy with a chicken, from the 0 point foods. So
everybody's got a different amount of total points that they have per day. But having said that, again, nothing's wrong with that, but that is not accurate, because it has me having my Nespresso in the morning with syrup and sweet creamer. I usually do one or the other. So that, and then, if I'm doing the creamer, it's a little bit on top of the milk. I usually do espresso shots. So I make a latte. So the lattes do tend to be more points because you have the milk in there. But one reason why
you don't do sugar-free syrups.
I don't. I'm very sensitive to the taste of the sugar-free ones with the artificial sugar, like Candice was saying. So like I've tried many of the ones, like I know the nut pods are really popular. I think Candice has tried those, right?
That's what I was going to tell you. The nut pods, now that I found this, now I'm like, no to that. But they're good. But can I just tell you, Rikki, the cookie dough one may change your mind.
Maybe I'll try it. Maybe. I mean, it's worth trying.
But to your point, most of them know I'm agreeing with you. But like I think it's, I don't know, like certain ones, it's like that one kind of fooled me. That one I feel like could be okay. But no, I understand.
So I updated it, and it's about 8 points for the latte, which again, some people might say that's a lot, but for me, that I have enough points for that. One thing is too, I like to look at the GLP. I still have the GLP tracking system on my phone, and I like to look at that. And for me, what's been working is focusing on the protein and getting in fruits and vegetables more than the points. So even though I have the option in mind to slide over and look at the points, when I'm looking at the protein, I don't see the points, and it's been working for me. But having said that, since we're talking about, points for different things for breakfast, a few of my favorites, I love the Trader Joe's egg bites. You do have to be careful, though, because I try to keep my breakfast low. I find that I don't need to eat a lot in the morning, but I feel like protein is important in the morning.
Rikki, how much protein, since you're using that GLP-1 designation, what do you find your breakfast? What are you trying to keep your breakfast towards protein wise? So
let's see, probably about, I want to say 20 grams.
Okay.
Because I can do that pretty easily between the milk and the turkey bacon, if I do a breakfast sandwich, or if I do one of the egg bites, like I can hit 20 grams. If I can get even more than that, that's great. But my kind of lower threshold is around 20.
Okay.
And I like a lot of consistently, I do Oikos yogurt. Because I don't always get to Trader Joe's to be able to stock up on those egg bites. But going back to the egg bites, those are, let me go back to, they are 2 points if you get the cheese, spinach, and kale egg bites. 2 points for a package. But they have 2 other options, and I just put the other one in just to see. The turkey, bacon, and cheese egg bites are 12 points. So just be careful, because you could pick one up the not want to say the wrong one, but a different one, and have a 10-point difference. So I usually get the spinach, kale, and egg one. I find that it's filling, it's flavorful. I really like that. And then the Oikos yogurts, I think, are like 2 points or so. And those you can get at 20, like starting at 20 grams. So those are really great. So it's usually a combination of those with my coffee, and that's my breakfast.
Okay. Candice is like champing at the bit. Go for it.
No. You first. I want to hear what your stuff is that you're having.
Well, for me, for breakfast, because I've been doing that hybrid, and I've kind of leaned more towards the calorie side for right now. I try to keep the calories for breakfast around 300. So, and point wise, that can be anywhere from like 0 points to 5 points, kind of like what I think you said, Rikki, point, or was you Candice? Yeah, in that point designation. But protein, same thing with you, Rikki, looking at protein, getting that protein for that GLP-1 designation in the app really helped me really started me thinking differently on some things. So but protein and vegetables for breakfast have been a real good push for me. But that's like my primary focus. And then when it comes to the drink side, I usually don't do a coffee, believe it or not, until like 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, when I hit that kind of like, I need a treat. And I'm like, you don't need a treat. Emotionally, you want a treat. But it's my little break moment of the day. So I'll actually start my morning with tea. And most of Celestial Seasonings teas are gluten-free. I think there's maybe 2 that aren't. So I have a little bit more security knowing that I can kind of grab a box and usually be good. I love the cinnamon apple spice tea to start out in the morning. And then there's what's the brand that has the little ginger cartoon? Yeah, I think it's the Ginger Company or something like that. And it's ginger juice in a bottle. You can get lemon juice in a bottle. It's ginger juice in a bottle. And so I'll just pour a little bit of the ginger juice into my cinnamon apple tea. So it's kind of like ginger, cinnamon, apple. And I have some coconut milk powder, and I'll add that to it. If I'm going to splurge, I call it a splurge morning, I'll do that. Or I'll just do the tea with the ginger juice and go straight. Because I don't drink enough water through the day. So I need to start out with something that's more water-based, i.e.
It's just so fancy. It's just, I was just listening to like taking the coconut powder and putting it over the ginger juice in the tea. And I'm like, I had my mocha latte. Like, it's like, like I aspire to be you. This is me giving you like,
well,
credit.
And I also, so in winter time, because you guys, I am so sick of being sick in winter that we have to remember that food is medicine. Food is medicine. And the reason why so many of us get sick in wintertime is because the abundance of sugar, the carbohydrates, that plays in with the immune system. And also for me, when I have too much citrus, this is also citrus season, I break out in those mouth ulcers because of the acid. So I've got to watch that part, and too much sugar is acid. So that's more than you want to know about my gut health, but there it is. So I'm really diligent in watching how much sugar I eat, and it's real easy to find it in breakfast and throughout the day.
But I think that also comes down to, and that's because I know I shared about the creamer, but I didn't get a chance to talk quickly about the things that I'm eating, because I agree with you, Erin.
Yeah. Let's roll into
that. There's something about a balance too. If you're gonna have, like, I mentioned the potatoes because one of my recent things that I'm doing, because I was focused on protein as well, is I'm scrambling 2 eggs, which are 0, and I'm putting in red pepper, onion, and I'll chop up a potato, like a very small amount, not like a whole, and almost like a scramble, like a hash scramble that I make, but everything's 0. And because the potato is surrounded by the eggs, and then I am a full convert to something that I heard people talk about all the time. I want to say, I don't know who it was, but it was a big all the rage when cottage cheese.
It's the Felicia combo.
But I'm talking about making scrambled eggs with cottage cheese whipped in.
That's every influencer in the world.
And I was like, that sounds horrible and diety. But like, I have been doing it. And when I tell you, it has been like the fluffiest eggs and just really
Have you been able to get it where it's not watery? Because
Yes,
that was
it
my
takes time.
struggle.
Yes, I know it can be watery, but I was able, I don't know if the lower heat or like a high, low, I don't know how I figured it out, but it's not watery. And it
Okay.
has been great because I'm leaving breakfast with like 20, 25 plus grams of protein from the eggs and the cottage cheese,
Mhm.
plus getting in the vegetables. So that's been a
Mhm.
staple for me recently.
Yeah.
So much so that my son, who is working on his speech, his favorite thing to say to the speech therapist is onions, peppers, and potatoes. He's like, it's time to make onions, peppers, and potatoes and eggs. Because that's what he knows that breakfast is. But it leaves me
Aw.
very full. And I think
That's
that
so
that
cute.
has been the change. It shows you the power of protein in the morning is the fullness that you feel
Yes.
that allows you to make better decisions later on.
And I
Yeah.
think I was sharing what I usually have and how I tend to not want to eat a lot in the morning, but I think that does impact the rest of my day. I don't feel like I'm out of control later in the day, but I do like especially looking at my wheel of protein, which again is what I see because I have the GLP selected. But I'm supposed to have 142 grams a day. And if I'm only having 20 grams in the morning, I'm really far behind. So that's something I need to do more of. Even if I'm not, incredibly hungry, I need to make sure I have more protein. And I know the cottage cheese is a good way to do that. The
Yeah.
Felicia combo is what I was thinking of when you were first talking, because a few years
Yeah.
back, she was an influencer, or she still is.
Mhm.
Felicia Fitness Health, I believe,
Oh,
something like that. But she did her own kind of thing where she was showing people her breakfast, and it would usually be like turkey bacon,
it's 1
eggs.
cup of hash browns
There you
that
go.
you and then it's 2
Mhm.
eggs
Mhm.
and 2 pieces of turkey
Turkey
bacon.
bacon, and
Mhm.
then like scoop. I
A
don't know
scoop
this.
of the cottage cheese.
Yes.
Mhm.
And that was the first time I got reintroduced to cottage cheese, because I know I had tried it in those little yogurt cups as a kid and it looked nasty, sitting in the water.
Mhm.
But trying it with the eggs, I was pleasantly surprised. I'm not a mixer of foods per se. I don't mix foods as much as other people do, but I liked having it, all together, like with a little bite of each, and I thought it was good.
Yeah.
There's a on Instagram, it's Jen Eats Good, Jenn, and
Mhm.
she makes a blended, she takes a bunch of eggs, blends it with the cottage cheese, she chops up spinach, and then she bakes it, and it makes, like an
Mm.
egg casserole.
Mhm.
I've done it once because again, I gotta watch my dairy, and I have to do lactose free when I do it.
Mhm.
And thankfully, there are actually some really good lactose-free, brands out for it. But that was delicious. That
Mhm.
savory edge, like, it doesn't I know there are people who are like, "I cannot stand cottage cheese." So if you're one of those people, I don't know, it may hit you different, but to me, it just tasted straight savory. And
Mhm.
it was an easy way to do the eggs, and it wasn't watery. That
Yeah.
baked version was not water. It was almost like that, like the sous vide egg
Mhm.
thing that I see from Starbucks.
Do you
Yeah.
have to blend the eggs? Could you just mix them together, or does it work better if you blend it?
Blend the cottage cheese and the eggs
Okay,
together.
okay.
Yes.
And then
Yeah.
do you do, frozen spinach? Could you do frozen chopped spinach?
You would wanna make sure that it's really well drained if you do the
'Cause I'm
frozen.
trying to think of how you can make that easy. Like, could you, if somebody's looking, somebody
Yeah.
being me, to, use fewer dishes and
Yeah.
make it simpler, it sounds like you need to
So,
follow the steps.
yeah, you could, if you have a hand blender, a stick blender, or if you
Mhm,
have a bullet blender,
mhm,
you could blend your cottage cheese in
mhm,
that, and then whisk your eggs and whisk it into the eggs if you wanted to
mhm.
go that route. That would
Okay.
be but you still would wanna blend I think cottage cheese,
Mhm.
it's like Cinderella.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, when you wave the magic wand, she goes from cleaning the fireplace to the belle of the ball. I
Mhm.
feel like that's cottage cheese.
Okay.
Yeah. It's
You
funny,
know
I feel bad for my husband because we both were equally against cottage cheese for the beginning of our marriage. And then I've converted, and he's like, "We hate that, right?" And I was like, well, actually, I'd like to procure another container because I think it's pretty great." And he's like, "Oh, so
Uh,
you're gonna
we're
be
doing
making
it?
breakfast." Oh, mm. And so I feel like I'm doing the things that like Erin does to us, Rikki, where I'm trying to like sneak it in without him knowing. But like it really is. It's a great way to get in protein. And I hate to be on the train, but I am on the train with it.
Okay.
Erin, I was going to ask you one thing I really think you should share, and maybe I'm just biased because I just love it. And for people who like the sausage and stuff, remember you told me about how to make like your own sausage at home. And then you made like a breakfast sandwich with the waffle. And I can't remember what waffle it was, but I think that was just such a wonderful idea. And it's something I think you said you could freeze possibly and put together ahead of time.
So it's chickpea. I use chickpea flour because that's high protein because it's chickpeas. So actually, this would be good for me to share for people who listen who are gluten and dairy, because so much of breakfast revolves around dairy, and it would be really cool to hear from some of our vegan friends who are like, no eggs, none of that. So that would be awesome to hear from. But it's chickpea flour, so I'll have to figure out a way to kind of put the recipe for that within the show notes. The show notes are the description of the episode. For those who are like, what are the show notes? Chickpea flour. This is a Jimmy Dean breakfast sausage knockoff. And it started out, it's Todd Wilbur's top secret restaurant recipes. And I altered his recipe just a smidgy. And yeah, you just kind of cook both. And then I discovered that I could cook my eggs. Everybody's got those little dash waffle irons.
Yeah.
I pour egg whites in there and I cook my egg whites in that business.
That's awesome.
If you go back to our Instagram page, I have a video of me cooking the egg whites in that. It's probably 4 months ago or something like that. But yeah, and then just assemble, make your sandwich. But Candice, I didn't know when I made it for you that you are not a sausage fan.
No, I was like, oh.
Yeah, I was sliding in chickpea waffles on you.
And I was more worried. I was like, how am I going to, she's being so great. How am I going to eat this sausage that I don't eat? And then I'm like, can I have another one? Like, that's how you know it was good. Like I was totally against, like you could not tell me I ate sausage. And then it's like, actually I do. Awesome. And I like it a lot.
So my alteration to it is maple extract. You get vanilla extract, lemon extract, maple extract, a teaspoon of maple extract in with it makes it the maple sausage.
Yes.
And it's a game changer.
Rikki, you didn't get to taste it, but I think it was that. Like sometimes, and I think I actually think that's a point that we need to kind of reiterate. It doesn't take a lot of like sweetness if you're trying to get, because I'm more of a sweet person. I don't know if Rikki, are you more like me? It's more sweet. Erin, I don't know if you're more savory or sweet.
I like more sweet, but I don't like mixing my savory and sweet. So I'm not a big sweet breakfast sandwich person.
Wait, you're not a McGriddle person? Because
I will eat a McGriddle, but I feel like sometimes I've had ones that maybe it's too sweet. Maybe it's when it's too sweet.
And that's really the point. Like this just had a hint of it. It wasn't overwhelming when you made it, but it was like, oh, there's a little bit of maple. And that taught me that sometimes less is more. When you're trying to add something, you swear you need 2 tablespoons of maple syrup when you're like, really? I mean,
you're like, actually, I want the flavor. I don't want the sweetness.
Right.
That's what I started to discover and it kind of tricked my taste buds a little. Not that they needed to be tricked, but the reality was I just needed I wanted flavor, not sweet. So that maple extract. I think there are 2 things when you like put these in your cooking arsenal. Go find these. I've talked about the Saigon cinnamon. That was a long time ago, right?
And you said to find that at Mom's and places like that.
Yep. There's also Corintia cinnamon, KORINTJE. That is the base of the cinnamon profile for Cinnabon. So if you want to take a coffee cake or pancakes or waffles or baked oats up to another degree, I'm telling you that cinnamon is going to change your world. It is that much of a difference. And the maple extract.
Where are you finding these things normally? Is it normally at like the Whole Foods type places or
literally everywhere? I've seen at my local grocery store.
I've never seen
Yeah.
maple extract. That's why I was like,
Yeah.
that seems very
I
specific.
haven't either.
So,
Yeah, Amazon and McCormick's. It could be because we're over here in Maryland, so McCormick is our. And you can get McCormick spices everywhere, but they make a
Yeah.
maple extract. There is one particular. I'll post a picture of it. I'm drawing a blank on the name of the brand, but there is one that I really like that I do get from the Mom's Organic Market that's around the corner from us. But there are lots of people that make maple extract, so try it.
all right.
Okay, let me tell you. So I have been trying no eggs and definitely no dairy for me for breakfast things. And especially with like the price of eggs, there's the price of ground beef right now or what have
Bird
you.
flu and all that stuff. Yeah.
Right. I'm like, come on now. So I got 93.7 ground beef on sale. And it's 0 points now and high protein. So I just browned it up real quick and then popped it in my freezer. And then I bang off little chunks of cooked ground beef. I microwave it a little bit. Guys, I make a bowl of oats. With the ground beef. I use Trader Joe's umami seasoning and a little bit of beef bouillon. This is wild. I know it's wild.
I'm trying to go with you here. I'm thinking oats and ground
Savory.
beef, and you lost
It's
me.
totally savory.
Okay.
And heat it all together, right? You could put a little sour cream on top. You could put a little bit of cheese. Okay.
So is it like a casserole? Well, so it's like oatmeal with ground beef on top.
It's oatmeal with ground beef. But follow if you're like, I don't know about this ground beef thing. That's all 0 right there. That's a 0 point breakfast, but it is super filling because you've got the fiber and carbohydrates from the oats. You've got the protein from the ground beef.
I'm just thinking of the textures working together. Like, does that?
Well, I'm thinking like if it was a grit, grits like that, savory grits would be like that, but they don't have the same nutritional value as oats.
Right. So oats. Try it with the oats. Okay. I know it's wild, but it's savory oats. We don't usually think of oats as savory, but you're like, hey, I'm not ready for the ground beef, but maybe I'm ready 2 of the Trader Joe's chicken breakfast sausages. Cut those up and put those inside that bad boy. And, think about your seasonings that you can put over top of it. A little bit of salt. I find that when I start with a savory breakfast, I am not hungry. My brain doesn't have food noise. It reduces the food noise. I'm not instantly thinking about, hey, I need this next little thing because the sugar isn't like tripped up in me. It is. Now, what it doesn't have is any vegetables or fruit, so you can roll some vegetables in. And I will tell you that not yesterday, Thursday, Mother Hubbard's cupboard was bare because I am also in no spend January. So I am rolling through everything. I'm eating through the pantry and my freezer. So I made that bowl of oats with a little bit of the beef bouillon and the Trader Joe umami seasoning. I put the cheese in there. I cut up pickles. And I put some mustard and ketchup to make like hamburger oats. Candice is like, I don't know about this. I know. I think
I feel like people feel when I talk about the fact that we have grilled cheese with grape jelly in the middle, like where it's like, know how people are like, what? That doesn't go together. And I'm like, my grandmother, that was her thing. She taught us that we put grape jelly in the middle. It feels like it doesn't go together. But I like all the ingredients, so I don't see
because we're not used to eating oats outside of cinnamon and maple. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if they're just a grain. So that could be it could be rice. It could be quinoa. It could
I just think that you need to make it and invite me. I need to come over to your house to do things and then just spring it on me. And then we can see how it works.
And then you can't be rude because you're a guest.
Covering people's things. They'll be like, sure, that sounds great. It's like, yeah, it sounds really good. But
Another breakfast that I'll do too is I will get onions, zucchini, cauliflower, apples. I will roast those together with some thyme. Sprinkle some dried thyme on top of it, maybe a little bit of paprika. I will roast that. And then I'll have chicken apple sausages, just regular chicken apple sausages that you can get at the store. And then I'll cut those up and put them like the last 10 minutes of while it's roasting. So I've got good protein with the chicken apple sausage, good veggies with those roasted veggies. And you get that little bit of sweet hint with the apple. But all I'm doing is looking at what's inside of the chicken apple sausage package. And I'm repeating that on the pan. And I'm bulking it up with a vegetable that has a plain flavor profile that will adapt to the other pieces. So cauliflower, zucchini, they take on whatever flavor you put with it, but it bulks up that meal.
It needs to be a cookbook. I'm having this feeling that Erin's gonna have a cookbook by the end of the year. Like,
I mean,
I'm just
I gotta
saying,
write down the stuff.
because you throw in things that kind of throw me off. Because I'm like, I was like with you with zucchini, and then you were like, and then just a little apple and cherries, and I'm like, how does that go?
So think like look at the sausage the next time. If you get an Italian sausage, what are the ingredients on the Italian sausage? It's probably going to have some red pepper in there.
Yeah.
It's probably going to have some onion, right? So mimic those and look at the seasonings that they have in Italian. It's going to be some basil. It's going to be some oregano. It's going to be some garlic. And then mimic that in your seasonings. And then just add that base bulk layer is what I would call it, of the cauliflower, potatoes, zucchini, something that, adds it in.
See how your tone changed? You got excited. Potatoes.
Yes. But that's so I tend to lean obviously to the savory side. Unless I'm trying to sneak a breakfast on someone like Candice, then I add a little bit of maple syrup.
Yeah. She was trying to, she's like, let me just put a little sweetness in this for this girl. Cause it's, but no, that's really good. Cause again, I'm looking to get veggies in and to always trying to hide things and beef up, cause I tend to go sweet, but I want to turn more savory. And like I said, I've been enjoying my breakfasts that are more savory and I want to, expand. So,
So guys, I think what we need to do this week, and I think our Real WW Talk groups will go along with this. Let's focus on breakfast within our groups, what we're eating. We should share a meal in there. How do you guys feel about doing that? Maybe a meal that we're eating and a drink that we're drinking in the morning. And I don't know, maybe we need to jazz up breakfast a little bit, or just
I challenge us to think outside the box.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I want somebody to try my savory oats, and I can handle a thumbs up or a thumbs down. It's okay.
I can handle it too. Maybe that'll be my thing outside the box. I'll try it this week.
Okay. Candice is going to show up at my doorstep one morning with a bowl.
I know. Be like, look, make it for me first so I can
fill me up, Buttercup. All right. Well, we hope that you have a great week. Please jump over into the Real WW Talk Facebook group. You can just search Real WW Talk on Facebook to find us. We're on Instagram, our YouTube channel as well. We would love to hear what you're eating for breakfast, how you strategize breakfast, what you drink. We want to know all the details. So please share them with us. And we will see you next week. Bye. Bye.
Bye.